Good morning, all of you. I think I'm audible to you. I will wait a few minutes, then I will start the session. Okay, good morning, all of you again, right? I will start the session, right? I hope that you got the practical sheet. Still, if you didn't get it, you can find it in your Open Learn Moodle class, right? First, I will share my screen. Right, I hope you can see my screen, right? So when you go to the Open Learn Moodle class, you can find these three sheets, right? These three sheets describe the lab 3, right? So today we are going to discuss about very important thing, right? So this the thing which I am going to discuss today is very important to you because these things will help you to do your mini project, right? So please pay your attention for this lab, and if you have any questions, any issues regarding today's session, please feel free to ask me, right? So I told you that we are going to discuss about something related to your mini project as well, right? So today we are going, what I'm going to discuss is, uh, first I will discuss about how to create a database. Then I'm going to create a simple web page. So through your web page, I'm going to pass data to our database, right? That is a very simple application. So we have a database and the web page. Through your web page, you are going to pass the data to your database, right? That's what we are going to do today, right? For that, first you need to install a software. I think that instruction is also in the Moodle class, right? When you're if we want to create a database, right, we should have some application. So in my case, I'm using WAMP server, right? So when you Google it, you can download it, and it is a free software. So you can download it and you can install it into your machine or laptop, or you can use either WAMP server or exam. Both are same. Interface is the difference is the way it starts, and other interfaces are same, right? So first, before going to that, I want you to tell me what. Uh, okay, I think I know you know these things, right? So okay, can you tell me what is a primary? So when we are discussing about database, primary key is very important, right? So can you tell me what is a primary? Okay. Any other answers? Okay. I got only one answer, right? Okay. Primary key is used to ensure data in the specific column is unique, right? So it is column cannot have null values also, right? Primary key means this primary key should be unique value, right? So we cannot have some duplicates. Let's say, let's think about this, right? This database. So we have a student table, right? In this student table, we have primary key, which is streg number, right? So as you know, one student can have one registration number. Two students cannot have same registration number, right? That like that, primary key is a unique value, right? So next thing is foreign key, right? What is foreign key? What is the foreign? So when you are doing your mini project and when you are working with database, these things are very important, right? You should have an idea what is the primary key, what is the foreign key, what is the composite key. These are very important, right? So I know these things discussed in the school 3 as well, right? So can you tell me what is the foreign key? Nearby you will have a cat also. So tell me what is the foreign key? If you are not comfortable with talking, please use chat.
Foreign key is the relation between two entities.
Right, quite correct. Foreign key is column, or we can say it group of columns in relational database that provides a link between data in two tables. It provides a link between data in two tables, right? So it is a column that reference a column of another table, right? So in here, when you look at this diagram, right? Here you can see this student registration number is a primary key for the student table, right? So when it comes to the marks table, here you can see this registration number is there also. So when it comes to the next table, this is a primary key. Again, this is a primary key for this table as well. So you can see there is a connection between these two tables, right? So we call this second uh, primary key as the foreign key, right? And a combination of two or more than columns in a table that allow us to identify each row of the table uniquely. We call it as the composite key, right? So those are some simple definitions for the primary key, foreign key, and the composite key, right? So right, let's discuss about this diagram, right? So as you see, this student info is our database. In this database, we have three tables, right? So we have student table, marks table and course table. When it comes to the student table, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, or we can say 6 fields in this table, and this student registration number is our primary key. So normally we are underline our primary key, that is usual notation, right? So if you see a table with underline with one, or underline with one underline with field, that field is primary key, right? So when it comes to the marks table, we have 4 fields and 3 of them are primary keys. And in the course table, we have 4 fields and this course code is a primary key, right? So I told you that we have to install a simple app software to create our databases, right? So I will share my screen, my okay. Can you see my desktop, my screen? Right. So here you can see WAMP server. This pink color icon, right? So what you have to do is you have to search this software WAMP server in Google. Then you can download it, and using very simple steps you can install it into your machine, right? So then what you have to do is after installing it, you have to double click it, right? So after, when you do that, you will get a message, right? So I don't know whether you can see it or not, right? So that will say, do you want to allow this app from an unknown publisher to make changes to your device, right? So please click on the yes button, right? When you click on the yes, here you can see up arrow in the toolbar, right? Click on that, and right. So here you can see this green color icon. Can you see that? This green color icon, right? So at the moment you click this WAMP server, this will display in red color, right? So when you start the services, so when you start the services running, it will turn into the orange, red turn into the orange, then that orange will turn into the green. Once it turns into the green, which means you can work on that, right? So what you have to do is to click on this icon. So then here you can see PHP MyAdmin, right? Click on that. Then it will open in your browser, right? So right, right. It will display like this, right? Normally you can use username as a root, and initially we are not going to give any password for this, right? So just click on this go button. then it will direct you to this kind of interface, right? So when you click on this database, so this is our local database, right? So when you click on this database tab, you can see what already created database, right? So I have created many database for my purposes. So you can see all of it, right? If you install it just now, I think you won't get much database, right? So if you create, you can this lot of database, right? So we have to create our database. So can you remember database name? What is our database name?
Student info database.
Yes. So today we are going to create student info database, right? I will copy this, right? Right. Let's create our database. Yes. Right. So here you can see database name, right? Click on that and you can type your database name. I will paste it here. So then you can create select collation, right? So collation is UTF-8 general CI. UTF-8 general CI. This collation can make only one-to-one comparison between characters, right? That's why we are having it. Then click on this create. Okay. Right. So here you can see the direction. We are in local database and inside the student info database, right? So now we have created our database. Then what we have to do is to create these tables. So you know, I will use this, right? So it's very clear. Our database name student info, that is done. Next thing is our first table is student, right? Student, and how many fields are there?
Six.
Yeah, we have 6 fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. Okay. Let's create student table with 6 fields. Right. So here you can see, so I'm in the student info database, and here you can see create table. So I'm going to create our first table, which is student, and we have 6 columns, 6 fields, right? So then here you can see go, right? Click on that. Right. So this is the place where we going to give the information about table. What are the fields and type of a data we are going to get and how many length. If we have primary key, this is the place we are going to do that. Lot of things we have to do. We can do using this interface, right? First thing is we have to give correct field. First thing is student registration number. You can refer that lab sheet. Okay, let me share it. Okay, here you can see first table field is student registration number. Type is int, and we are having length as a 4, and it is our primary key. Okay, let's do that. Field name is student registration number. So when you are going to give field's name, don't use any space, right? If you do so, when you are going to link this web page, you are going to web page. If you are going to make connection between web page and database, you will get errors, right? So therefore, don't make any spaces here. Instead of that, you can have here I'm having a underscore, right? So you can have underscore, but don't put any spaces here. Right. So type is integer. So we are going to have 4 values as a student registration number. Next thing is this student registration number is the primary key. To make this field as the primary key under this index, right? So you can see drop arrow, click on that. So here you can see different kind of keys. Please select primary. When you click on that, you will get this kind of a dialog box. Don't make any changes, just click on go. Then here you can see it will take this field as a primary key, right? Okay, now we have created first field. So then we have to create other fields as well. Okay, next thing is student name and field type Vacha and length is 45. Right? Field student name type is Vacha and we will give 45 values. Next thing is third field is student date of birth. Date of birth. So here you can use date as a data type. When you select date as a type, no need to give the length. It know the length of the date. It will automatically assign that value. One more thing. When you select this type as a date, you have to follow special format, which means first you have to put year dash like this, right? Right. So when you select DOB as date, so format is year dash month dash date, right? So you have to use this format when you insert value using your web page, right? That's for your information. That is very important. Otherwise, you will get errors, right? So, okay, let's fill the other field. That is gender, right? So here, student gender and data type is char, right? Okay, can you tell me what is the difference between Vacha and Cha? What is the difference between Vacha and Cha?
Maybe it variable character and character.
Yeah, can you describe it further?
Variable means that mean gender mean male or female. That binary thing. The name will be vary. Am I right?
Any other answer? This is your third lab, so you should know this thing. Right. Char means character. That's correct. Vacha means variable character. That is correct. Difference is cha means one character, right? Vacha means set of characters. So here you can have number of letters or number of numbers as a vacha. When you use cha as your type, which means you can have only one character. So in this case, we can have only M or F. Clear? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. The next thing is, right, our next field is student address, that is vacha with 60 characters. You can define this length, right? You can have any value up to 255. And last field is telephone number. It is in int and length is 10. Okay, now we have done a lot of things and we feel lot of details about our table. Right. So we have to do one more thing, right? So later we are going to create relationship between these tables, right? So therefore, it is very important to have this storage engine as a node. Otherwise, you cannot make that relationship between tables, right? So when if you are going to create table, so you have to fill relevant field name and you have to give the type, length, and you have to give the primary key. After doing all those things, what you have to have to do is to select correct storage engine, right? So remember, our storage engine is inordinate, right? If you didn't select this, you will not be able to create the relationship between tables, right? That's why we are having this in our DP. So then uh, here you can see save button. Click on that. Right. Okay. So now you can see the structure of our table, right? So here you can see.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Where are we that on a date column, we have given the format. Where we get the format? Can you explain again that
It is predefined
format? Why
format for
year,
the
month, date?
MySQL. That is, date format is already defined in MySQL. This date predefined for this database. That is the standard format.
Okay.
Right. So here, this is our table structure. Right. So then we have to create another table, right? Another two tables. To create those two tables, you have to go to inside the database, right? So here you can see the flow. Right now we are inside the student table. To create next table, you have to go to inside the student info database. Click on this link. Now we are in the student info database. Inside this table database, we have one table here. Right. Let's create the second table, which is course. Right. This course table has 4 fields. Right. Courses, number of columns 4. Then click on this course. Right. So you know how to do this now, right? I will get the information from the lab sheet. So our first field is C underscore code, data type varchar, length is 7, and it is a primary key, right? Field is postcode and varchar, length is 7, and it is a primary key. You know how to make a field as a primary key, right? So under index drop arrow, select primary key, then click on the dialog box go. So then it will take as a primary key. And the second field is C underscore title and varchar with 40 length, right? Title, varchar, 40. Then third one, C underscore credit, int 1, credit, int 1. And last field is C underscore level, int 1. Right. Right. So now I have given all the information related to this course table. So there is another thing I have to do. Can you remember that?
Storage engine.
Yeah, we have to select storage engine as an OD, right? So after doing all those things and after filling these information correctly, you can save your paper. Okay, this is the course structure, course table structure, right? This course code is our primary key. Here you can see the key as well. Okay, so now I want to create the last table, right? So can you guide me to do that? So what should I do next if I want to create the last table? What is the next step? Create the table. Create a new table.
Yeah. Click on the course. That
Sorry?
first we have to click on the top of the course. Then
Not top of the course. We have to select on this, right? Database. We have to
yeah.
go inside the database. Right.
Then
Yeah, I will do. Right. Thank you. Yeah.
we have to create table.
Right. Okay, I will get table name, marks, and how many fields?
There are 4 fields.
Right. Let me click on the go.
Yeah,
Right.
4. Then first we have to st underscore reg underscore num in no in
Right.
the name. It's a integer type.
Right.
Then size is 4. Then we have to select the primary key. It's a null index. Primary key and go.
Okay.
Likewise,
Right. I will do that for you.
that
Right. Thank you. Okay. You're correct. And let me fill these fields quickly. So next field is the underscore code varchar with the length of 7, right? Varchar and 7. There is also a primary key, right? And next thing is registration year, date, and that is also a primary key. And we have to take it as a date and primary key. Last field is marks int string, right? And don't forget to select storage engine as you know. Right, this is almost done. So
Then
I
save.
save the table, right? So this is the structure of marks table, right? So then I will go inside my database, right? So now I am in student info database, and you can see there are 3 tables, right? So if you want to make any changes, let's say if you want to make any change in cost table, so click on this cost table and go to the structure of table, and here you can see change, right? So when you go change, you can change this, right? So let's say if you want to change the name or then you can do, right? Whatever the thing you want to do, right? That's for your information, right? So now we are in the inside the information, the student info database, right? So according to the lab sheet, we have done a lot of things creating our database, right? So when you look at the lab sheet, let me share that, right? So we create this, and this, except creating this foreign key. Am I correct? Still, we didn't
Yeah.
create these foreign keys. Except this, we did all the things, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any questions
Yes.
so far?
No, man.
Okay, let's create relation. This let's create these foreign keys, right? So let me share my database again. Right. Now I am in inside my student info database, right? So here you can see more, and when you click on more, you can see design, right? So go to the design, and right. So when you go to the designer, you can see your tables here, right? Let me arrange these things, right? So our student table, course table, and marks table. So what we have now, what I am going to do is to create relationship between these 3 tables. So you know, in student table we have student registration number, and again in the marks table we have student registration number. So you can see the relation. There is a relation. So this is the primary key, and again this is the primary key for the marks table, and so we have same field acting as a primary key for 2 tables, which means for this second table, this student registration number is act as a foreign key, right? So I told you at the beginning as well what is a foreign key, right? So let's make that relationship. To create that relationship, so here you can see this create relation. So it's like so you can see this icon, right? Okay, click on this create relation. when you click on this create relation, so you can see something in display with your mouse pointer, right? So it says select reference key, right? So my reference key is my primary key, right? So you have to click on the correct primary key. So first we are going to create relationship between the student table's registration number with marks table student registration number. So this is the primary key. So I will click on this. Just focus on the message display with mouse pointer, right? So I will click on it now, right? So when I click on this, right? So you can see the message, it was changed, right? It was changed to select foreign. So you have to select correct foreign key. So I told you foreign key is in this student info marks table, right? So click on that field, right? Let me click it, right? So when you click on that, it will get you this kind of interface or message. So on delete, select no action, on update, no action. Then click on the OK and right. So you can see the relation, right? So here to here. Likewise, we have to create another relationship between cost table and marks table. To do that, what you have to do is to, in this toolbar, select create relation, same as earlier, and select reference key. So this is my reference key. Click on that. Then message will change into select foreign key. Then you have to select correct foreign key. So this is my foreign key. So I will click on that. Then I will get this interface, this message. So on delete, no action. On the update, no action. So click on OK and you will get the relation. So let me arrange this in proper way. Right. So now you can see the relationship between these three tables. So now we have done all the things related to create a student info database. Right. So any questions so far?
Miss, can you explain that, Miss? The no action means?
We are not going to do anything when we are going to update or delete something you use some records in database. We are not going to do anything. We don't want to change this relationship. That's why we are telling that no action. If you are going, let's say if you are going to delete some record inside this table, so if you have if you have a values in this table, and let's say you are going to delete any record, or if you are going to update any record, I don't want to change this relationship. That's why I select no action. Nothing will happen to this relationship. If either you are going to update or delete. That's so. Is that clear?
Yeah. Thank you.
So any questions so far? Right. So we have done all the things related to the database creating, right? So So you can find steps here, right? In this part. Right. So in this sheet, you can find step by step, right? So creating a database, you have to create a table. All those things are here, right? Right. So at the beginning, I told you that we are going to create a database. Then we are going to create a web page. Then we are going to create relationship. Let's say it's not relationship. We are going to connect this database and the interface. So one part is done. So next, what we have to do is we have to create our web page, right? So we are going to create this kind of interface, right? So you can see. Let me Right. So here you can see this is our interface. So in our interface, using our interface, we are going to add records to the student. Student table, right? So here you can see using our web page, we have this student registration number, student name, date of birth, gender, address, telephone number, and there is a space to give your details here. This should be editable. I mean, once we click on here, we should be typing records here. Then there is a button. So when you click, after filling all these information, when you click this submit button, right? So these values should display in this table, right? That's what we are going to do today, right? So let's create our web page, right? So to create web page, you have to you can use any text editor, right? So I am recommend you to use Sublime Text. So Sublime Text is I think you have worked with Notepad. This is like a Notepad, but this is developed, specially developed for coding the web page, right? So to create our web page, we are using HTML as a language, right? So in HTML, we are doing all the things inside the tag, and our whole code will be displayed inside this HTML tag. So this inside this HTML tag, we can divide this HTML tag into mainly two sections, head and body. Under head, we can display our title, meta. There are so many tags, but in head, we can use these two. When it comes to the body of the page, we can have anchor tag, heading tag, paragraph. There are so many tags we can have under this body tag, right? So this is also open source, and this is a free editor, right? So you can search in Google Sublime Text 3, right? 3, this is latest version. So download it and install it into your machine, right? So then you can open a file, new file, right? So this is a new file. This is the place where I am going to use to create my web page, right? Here, very first thing is we have to save this file as HTML file. So there are two important things to say about saving this file, right? First thing is you have to save this file as HTML file. Another thing is the place where you're going to save this file. That is also very important because we are going to pass our data to our database using this interface. Therefore, the saving location is also a very important, right? So let me save this file. Okay, you can use file save, or you can use keyboard keyword Control S, right? Okay. Can you see this dialog box? Save as dialog.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So you have to save. You have to select correct place to save this file, right? So the place is, you have to go to your C partition, right? So we are installed our software in C partition, right? So then you have to search WAM, right? So this is my WAM server, right? So you have to select WAM. When you when you select WAM, then you have to go inside this www, right? Inside the www folder, you can create any folder, right? I have already created this EEX3417 folder, right? Inside this folder, I am going to save this file, right? So then you can give any name, right? I will use index.html. This is very important. This is my second point. The other point, you have to use HTML extension and save as a type all files, then save this, right? So now you know how to save this file as a HTML file and the correct location, right? So let's start to create our web page, right? Right. Very first thing is you have to use HTML tag. I told you that we are doing all the things inside the HTML tag, right? So let's type HTML. Right. That's why I ask you to use Sublime text. When you type some few characters for relevant tag, it will give you some suggestions. Using these suggestions, you can do it very quickly. So I will select this HTML, right? So it will give the structure. So I told you that we are doing all the things inside the HTML, and this HTML, it has two parts, head and body, right? So let's give the title, right? Let's say student at if you make any changes inside this code, you have to save it again and again. Right? We have, so I saved it. Let's open this web page in browser, right? To open this file, to open our web page, right? So I will get new tab. And this is also very important, right? Please remember these things, right? So first thing is, you in URL you have to type localhost, right? Localhost slash, and you have to type your folder name. This is case sensitive, so you have to use correct spelling, right? So I think you can remember my folder name is EEX3417, right? So this folder means the place where you save this file. So inside the www, I create a folder EEX3417. Inside that folder, so then slash, and you have to give the file name with file extension, right? Then click on that, then press enter, right? So this is our web page, right? So can you see my title? This is the web page we created, right? So can you see title?
Yes, ma'am. The new tab bar.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So here you can see the title, right? Okay, let's start to do. Right. Okay, now we have to create our interface, right? Okay, this is our interface. Let's first type, let's first display this at student record. Okay, and we have to display these things as well, right? Here I will use a H1 tag. Yeah, H1. And add student record. Right, I will save it again, and let's go to the browser and refresh it, right? So here you can see add students record, right? Okay, so then I will I'll get say first I will take a form. Inside the form I will take a table, right? So in HTML table you can have table data, let's see, table row, right? TR tag means table row, right? So this is table row, and then you can have table data, TD. TD means table data. table data, right? TD, TR, and we can have another as a TH that will represent the table heading, right? So today we are not going to use table heading, right? So you can have table row and table data, right? Inside the table data, right? I will erase this, right? Only for your information. I will have a label. Right. So inside the label, I will type registration number. Registration number. Right. So let me save this and I will open my browser and I will refresh it. Right. So here you can see registration number. Then there should be a text box like this, and you should be able to type your registration number here, right? That's what we are going to do. Right, so let's add this text. Let's add this text box into our web page. Okay, I will clear my drawings and I will open my Sublime. Right. For that, I will get another table data and I will use new keyword input. Right. So here we are using type as a text, EEX, and you can have name and ID, right? So I will use lab sheet ID and name, right? Yeah, I will copy that. Later on, we are going to create relationship with, we are going to create a connection. We are going to make connection between this HTML page and the web database. At that time, we call this registration number text field using this ID, right? That's why we are having IDs here. So I will save this and let me share my browser again and I will refresh it. Here you go. So here we have text field. You can type your information, right? So is it clear? Is it clear what I have done here? Right. Likewise, we have to add the other things, other information, right? So again, I will get table row and table data. Inside that, I will have label. So next thing is student name, I think. Student name, right? Student name. And I will get another table data and inside using input. Okay. And let's get student name. Likewise, you can add other information as well. Table row and table data and label. Next thing is date of birth. Right. Now we'll get another table data and use input, type text, and I will use name and ID. Right. Next information is gender. I will get table data and use input text. Then again another table row for the next record. So next thing is address. So then another table data and input. Type text. I think one more record to be had. And last thing is telephone number. Okay. Text and right. So we have here. Let me share my browser again. Right. Let's see this in our browser. Right. I will refresh it. Okay. You can see. Right now I can type information. Right. Right. So when you look at the left sheet, right, in that you can see there is a submit button here, right? Let me add that. Okay, after the table, I will have some line break here. And I will have another input, right? This, if you use this type as a submit, right? Submit, it will display like a button, right? So I will give this value as a submit, right? Let me save this and share my browser and I will refresh it, right? So here you can see button as. So now we have create our web page as well. So do you have questions so far? So at the beginning, I told you that we have to create database, web page, and we have to create relationship, or we have to make a relationship between this database and this web page. So we have created this database and web page, or we can call it as an interface. So we have done two things, and what we have to do is to create a relation between these two, this database and web page, or we can call it the interface. So do you have any questions so far? Is that clear? මේ වෙනකම් කරපු හැමදේම පැහැදිලි. Right, okay. So then what we have to do is to create a relationship, right? Between these interface and database. To create relationship or to make relationship or to make connection between HTML page and database, we are using PHP, right? So using PHP, we can pass database, we can pass information from here to here, right? Right. To do that, I'm going to get another new file, right? And I will save this file as a okay, let's I will take dbcon, right? I will take this file as dbcon, and you have to save this file as a php. And remember, you have to save this file you have to save this file the place where you save your HTML file, right? So this is my HTML file index.html, and I'm saving this PHP file in the same location, right? So you have to save it. Right. So we have saved this file as a dbcon.php. Right. So I told you that we are using PHP to create this relationship, right? So in PHP, we are doing all the things inside this PHP notation, right? This is inside this two, this line 1 and line 4, we can do our PHP. We can code, right? So Now we are going to access this database, right? Right. If you can remember, when I click on the WAMP server in my desktop, right, it will open in web browser, and in that interface is the login interface. So it was asked about the username and password. Did you remember that? Yes. And I told you that we are going to give username as a root, and normally we are not going to give any password for that, right? Likewise, using PHP, we have to access that, right? First, we have to say that we are going to access this local database, which is local host. To access this local host, username and password, we have a username root, and we don't have any password. And we have to access this student info database, right? So we have to tell all those things using PHP, right? Now I am going to tell you how can we tell those information using PHP. So first thing is I am going to create a variable, right? Uh, in PHP, we are using $sign to create a variable. My variable is $con, right? So I'm going to store some value in this variable. The information I'm going to store is the login details, right? So for that, I will use MySQLi underscore connect, right? MySQLi underscore connect, right? Using this method, I'm going to tell we are going to access localhost and username for the access that localhost, password for the access that localhost, and which database we are going to access, right? So first thing is our we have to tell we are going to access our local host, right? Within double quotation local host, then comma, then username for the access to this local host, username is root, and we don't have any password, therefore you can keep it like this, and your database name. So I will copy database name from the database, right? I don't want to have any spelling mistake. That's why I am copying it, right? Student, right? So remember, this semicolon will represent the line end, right? So now we have stored all those things in this $con variable, right? Next thing is, I want to check whether I can access this database or not. Therefore, I will use if condition to check that, right? So if I couldn't access this database using this username and password, I want to print some error message. To print error message, you can use die in PHP. Inside that, what I'm going to tell is could not connect, and I want to print the error. Could not connect, and I want to print the error. to get MySQL errors, you can have MySQL underscore error method, right? What MySQL. If I couldn't log into the localhost using this username, password, and if I couldn't access this database, it will display could not connect and it will display relevant error. This happen if I could, right? So if I could access that database, right? I want to print connection established success, right? Okay, I have a question. In C programming, what is the keyword that you can use to print something? My question is, if you want to print something in C, what is the keyword?
Echo.
I'm asking about C programming.
Printf.
Yeah, printf. Likewise, in PHP, we can use echo to print some, right? So let's say connection established successfully. And semicolon. Then so now if it print like this, which means we are inside the database, right? Right. Which means we are here. Right. So now I want to access this student table, right? So this interface having information about this student table, right? So therefore I want to insert information into this table, right? To insert information to this table, we can use SQL queries, right? I know these things are little bit new, not little bit, totally new to you, right? So, but listen carefully, right? These are not very complicated things, right? When you focus on these things, it's very easy things, right? So therefore, what you have to do is to listen carefully and you have to practice those things. Then you will get some pattern. Once you identify that pattern, it is very easy for you to do this kind of things, right? So now we are inside the student information database. Now I am going to insert data, or I am going to input my data into the student table. Right. So I will get another variable SQL, right? Inside, I'm going to store student information to this variable, right? So in SQL, there are some queries. If you want to insert some student data, there is a query which is student query. So if you want to update student data, you can use update query. If you want to delete a record, you can use delete. If you want to search any record, you can use search. Likewise, there are, if you Google it, you can find those structures, right? It's very easy. So I will tell you how to insert record, right? For that, I told you we can use insert query, right? It will start insert, INSERT, insert into, then you have to mention the table name. So today we are going to insert our data into the student table, right? So you have to give the table name student, insert into the table name student. So then we are going to tell that what are the table fields. Then within brackets, I'm going to tell that table fields. Since I don't want to get any spelling mistake, I will copy that fields from the fields from the database and paste it, right? Okay, first field is student registration number and comma. Then second field, that is student name, and third, student date of birth, right? Then next thing, student gender. You have to put these things correct order, right? You have to use, okay, let me finish this and right. And next thing is student address. And last thing is, last field is student telephone number. Right. So here you have to use the proper order, which means, let me share my database again, right? So you have to use first student registration number, second student name, student DOB, student gender, student address, student telephone number. You have to, it is compulsory to use this order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. If you miss this order, you will get errors, right? That's important, right? So now we have mentioned the table fields as well. So now it knows what is the table name and what are the table fields you are going to use. Right. Then we have to tell that we want to insert this input value into as a student registration number, this second input value as this student name name. Likewise, we have to tell that, right? But that we have to use values VALUs, right? Then we have to tell that what are the values. Right. Right. Values. To get, so here our values is in this HTML page. We want to pass those values into this PHP. So using this PHP, we are going to store that values in our database, right? So to get HTML value into PHP value, right? So here we have to use a method, right? Method. To do that, you can have two methods. First thing is post, and you can have get method as well, right? So these two are the methods that you can use to get value in HTML to PHP, right? So today we are going to use post method, right? So our method is post, right? Sorry, post, POST. Right. In form, inside the form, you have to tell we are going to use post method and right. So if you have post method here, so then you can get value into the PHP using $_post, right? $_post, right? And there should be a square bracket here. Inside this bracket, right? So our first value is student registration number. So in here, inside the HTML, right? So you can see this is the input for the student registration number. When I get this ID, I told you that we are going to call this registration number text box using this ID, right? So copy this ID and paste it inside here, this bracket, right? That is for the one, right? And then again, I will use $_post square bracket. So my next value is student name, right? So then I will use student name input ID, copy it and paste it here. Right. Then within the double quotation, I will use another post $_post. My third is student database, student DOB, date of birth, and student date of birth, input ID, copy it and use it there. Again, $_post square bracket. Then you have to use gender ID. The next thing for the address, you have to copy the address input ID and you can use it. And again, for the telephone number, you can get it here. Telephone number, input ID and paste it. Right. Now we have mentioned the table name and the relevant table field and value from the HTML page, So now we have done a lot of things. So then I want to make sure that I could insert this data or not, right? So I want to check that. Therefore, I will use another if condition to check that, right? After that, I will use another if condition, and first I will check the negative part. I want to check the both MySQL. If this not my SQL, query. Right here, I will give these two conditions. I want to check whether this happened and if it is so, I want to print an error message. You know how to print an error message. So we have to use type and let's print error. Then print the MySQL error as well. This will happen if I couldn't access the database as well as if I couldn't insert data into this student table. Right. If I could access database and if I could insert values into the student table, right? I want to print that record okay, let me add the line break here, right? Otherwise these values will print in the one line. Right. This is for the get new line, right? So then, so we use username and password to access this local host, right? So then we have to log out, right? So to do that, we can close the connection, right? To close the connection, you can use MySQL like close and MySQL like close and I'm going to close this connection, right? Right. Okay, we have done it, right? So we create our database, then we make our web page, then we create a connection, database connection from HTML page to database, right? So these are two separate pages, right? We have to connect these two pages, right? To connect these two pages, right? Inside the HTML page and inside the form, you can have action, right? Inside the action double quotation, you have to give the correct PHP name. So my PHP name here you can see dbcon dot php, right? So you have to save your file again, right? Okay, that is done. So now we have HTML page, we have PHP page, we have create relationship between this HTML page to PHP. Using this PHP, we are going to access this localhost using username and password. Then we are going to access this student info database. Then we are going to insert information to the student table, right? After doing all those things, we are going to log out from the localhost as well, right? Now we have done all the things. Now we have to check. Okay, a moment of truth. Now, okay, now we can check whether once you give your information here and press submit button, these information should store inside this student table, right? So let's check it, or let's check whether we have any mistake in program or something, right? Right. When you are going to give some values to this student paper, right? You have to consider about this type. So student registration number, integer 4, student name, Vachavali in Vacha, so date of birth in date format, student gender is one character. You have to consider these things, right? Okay, let me give the sample value, right? Okay, let's have 0001. Student name. Okay, I will get I will get so date of birth. This is very important, right? So you have to use proper date format, right? So I told you that first thing is year. Let's say 1995, then dash, then month. Okay, let's give 5. And let's give, okay, let's give today 11, right? When it comes to the gender, right? So we give cha, so you can have one letter, right? So let's give the address and phone number. Okay. Then let's click on the submit button, right? Okay, I will click it. What I didn't get anything. Right. Okay, let's see what happened. Okay, I couldn't insert the information. Uh, cbcon.php. Here I gave all the information on the local host of my student info. Let me try it again. here you can see, I think I haven't clicked it properly. I didn't change anything, right? So it says connection established successfully and record added successfully. Okay. Let's check it. Okay, let me go to the database and I will refresh my database. And right here you can see the record sheet using these interface. I pass information, right? Likewise, you can add the information here too. Right? So then you can refresh it will add, right? That's what we're supposed to do today. So we create our database, then we create a web page, then we create connection between this web page and HTML page. Again, we create a connection between HTML page to database. So then finally we pass our information using this interface to our database. So do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Is it clear? If you have any questions regarding today's session, you can ask me. So these are the things that I want to discuss today as your lab 3. So your lab 3 test will be held later on, right? We will inform you later. You have to practice these things, right? So this is not very complicated thing, right? This is very easy, but you have to first I suggest you to go through these things which I discussed today. Then try to create another interface for the we have several tables. So try to create another interface for course table or marks table. Then try to pass information through your course information web page or marks information web page to this table, right? So please practice these things. You can use same structure. You have to think carefully what are the change in information. Right. If you have any questions, you can ask me.
Ma'am, in lab 3,
Mhm.
hello, excuse me, ma'am. In lab 3, only this will be asked.
Yeah. In lab 3 test, you will have to create a database and you have to create a interface and you have to pass through your interface to database. That's what we
That
are.
means today lessons only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? I hope you understood what I discussed today. Is it? Um, Actually, I don't know about the lab 3 test. Whether it will do via online or physical. I don't know actually. Uh, I think still we haven't decided it. Right? We will let you know later, right? Okay. So anything else? First, you have to install those two um, applications, right? You can use either WAMP server or you can use exams, right? Let- Right, you can use exam or right. This is exam, right? So interfaces are same, right? You can download and install it. So I used WAMP server. So I use WAMP server, so you can download it and install. And I use Sublime as well, Sublime text free, right? So those are very free. I didn't get you. CVX4240 test also on same time. Which means today? Oh, are you talking about head clashes? It's not clear. Can you explain it? Anupama? cat එක clash වෙනවා කියලාද කියලා තියෙනවා හිතනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් දැන් මේ වෙලාවේ ඒක test එකක් තියෙනවා.
නම් කැට් එකදී එකම වෙලාවෙ දෙකම තියෙනවා කියන එකද? හෙලෝ.
ඔව් ඔයා කියලා තියෙන්නේ මේ 34017ත් එක්ක මේ CBX එකේ cat එකයි එකම time slot එකේ තියෙනවා කියලාද?
ඔව් මැඩම්.
ඔයා එහෙනම් course coordinator එක email එකක් දාන්න. නීල්සා ඉන්නවනේ. නීල්සට ඒක inform කරන්න.
මැඩම් thank you මැඩම්.
Right.
Okay මැඩම්.
So anything else? So you can download these things, right? So Sublime Text 3 and you can download either exam or WAM server. Right. So if you don't have any questions, yeah, not PHP MyAdmin. To get PHP MyAdmin, you can download WAM server. That's why I told you WAM server. Oh, no. WAM server. You have to download. So here you can download this WAM server. Download it and install it. You have to just go next and finish. Right? So you have to download this and whether your then you have to double click on the icon, then it will work. Right? Anything else?
Ma'am, what about the lab 2 marks?
Yes.
Lab 2 marks last May 8th.
I couldn't hear you. Can you say it again?
Lab 2 marks, ma'am. It's done on last 8th.
It will publish soon. Don't worry. We'll publish soon. Right.
Then the lab 3 maybe after the lab 3 maybe after the cat, ma'am, before the cat. That means 26th.
I think most probably after the cat. So we don't have that much time. If we are going to have it, we will inform you.
Okay. Through the open LAN, no?
Yeah, most probably it will be after the cat.
Okay.
So anything else? Welcome. Okay, if you don't have any questions, let's wind up the session. Right? Right, okay. Okay, let's wind up the session, right? Thanks for the participation.